Hello students. So now this is fourth video, the enemy, Vistas for class 12th. In the third video, we have seen that the injured American is brought home. The servants are told about his presence, but the servants are not ready to serve him. We have seen Yumi. She was told to wash this white man, but she said, no, I have never done this job and I will not even do right now. I will never wash this man. So this way she disapproved, the presence of this white man in this house. Hannah cried. Now we are starting page number 31, second para. Now Hannah and Yumi are both there in the room where the white man is. This is Sadao's father's room. But Yumi is still showing that adamant nature. So that's why she's not ready to wash. Hannah cried at her severely. You will do what your master commands you. Now Hannah said, how can you say no? Because we are demanding this job. There was so fierce a look of resistance upon Yumi's round, dull face that Hannah felt unreasonably afraid. Actually, when she shouted at the servant did not answer back. But the way she looked at Hannah, this body language, the eyes, it showed that she's not going to do it. And for a second, even Hannah got afraid, because maybe she had never seen this kind of refusal in Yumi's eyes. After all, if the servants should report something, that was not as it happened. Now why she got afraid? Because she thought that if she pressurizes this lady to do this job, then maybe they may stand in revolt, and maybe they may go to police, they may go to army, and they may report about what actually is not the truth, because they have brought this man because he's injured. There is no other intention of saving this American. So that's why she thought that she should not pressurize this lady for any job for American. Very well, she said with dignity. You understand, we only want to bring him to his senses so that we can turn him over as a prisoner. She said, okay, you don't want to do this job? No worry. But you should understand our intention. Our intention is just to help an injured person, because after that even we are also planning to hand him over to the Japanese army. I will have nothing to do with it. Yumi said, I am a poor person and it is not my business. But Yumi said, ma'am, whatever you want to do, whatever you have, your intentions, I have nothing to do with it. I am a poor person and I don't want to be indulged in saving any enemy. So that's why I will not do anything for him. Then please, Hannah said gently, return to your own work. So Hannah said, okay, then no worry, you can go back to the children. At once, Yumi left the room. But this left Hannah with the white man alone. She might have been too afraid to stay had not her anger at Yumi's stubbornness now sustained her. Actually, she was very angry at Yumi, and that's why she was able to get that courage to stay all alone with the white American. Maybe she at this point, she forgets everything, that all the fears which she was earlier having when Sadao went out of the room. She also followed him immediately, because she never wanted to be let alone with this injured American. But right now she was so angry that in this anger she forgot that fear, and now she was there to do this job of washing the man. Stupid Yumi, she murmured fiercely. Is this anything but a man, and a wounded helpless man? And now she's doing the job and she's talking to herself. She says, this is nothing. There is no need to afraid of this man. This man is injured. Though he's American, but even then, he's injured man, helpless man, he cannot do anything. In the conviction of her own superiority, she bent impulsively. Now, in the conviction of her own superiority, that means she is the mistress of this house. She's superior than these servants. And that's why she thought, why should she beg in front of these people to do any job? She's the mistress. She should not beg. And in that purity complex only, she bent impulsively, immediately, with that strength. She bent down and she started washing the white man. She bent impulsively and untied the knotted rugs that kept the white man covered. When she had his breast bare and she dipped the small clean towel that Yumi had brought into the steaming hot water and washed his face carefully. So this was kind of sponging now she started. The man's skin, though rough with exposure, was of a fine texture and must have been very blond when he was a child. While she was thinking these thoughts, though not really liking the man better now that he was no longer a child, she kept on washing him until his upper body was quite clean. But she dared not turn him over. Where was Sadao? Now her anger was ebbing. Ebbing means getting down. She was angry at Yumi, and in that anger only she got a new kind of strength and she started doing the work of washing the man. Okay, but now gradually the anger was going down. And now she was thinking about Sadao, that by now Sadao should be here. And she was anxious again and she rose, wiping her hands on the wrong towel. Then, lest the man be chilled, she put the quilt over him. Now, after washing, she pulled the quilt, she covered the body of the white man. Sadao, she called softly. He had been about to come in when she called. His hand had been on the door and now he opened it. She saw that he had brought the surgeon's emergency bag and that he wore his surgeon's coat. Now Sadao came, but now he was ready for operation. Okay, he came as a doctor only with his briefcase and all the instruments and all the paraphernalia, because he had already made up his mind that this man should be operated on, otherwise he will die. "You've decided to operate?" she cried. "Yes," he said shortly. He turned his back to her and unfolded a sterilized towel upon the floor on the tokonoma alcove and put his instruments out upon it. Now he spread one towel and he took out all the instruments. Normally all these instruments are handled by the nurses and the junior doctors in the operation theatre. But here he is all alone, so he spread everything over there so that whenever he needs some instrument, it should be handy. "Fetch towels," he said. She went obediently, but how anxious now, to the linen shelves and took out the towels. There ought also to be old pieces of matting so that the blood would not ruin the fine floor covering. So naturally she was now worried about that floor also. Okay, the mat was there on the floor, and if the operation takes place, naturally there could be bleeding, more bleeding. So she thought that it should not ruin that floor. Okay, that's why she thought that she should get some pieces of actually those matting which gardener uses for the, means some pieces which gardener uses to cover the plants, small plants from the direct sun rays. Okay, so she knew that there are certain pieces of cloth, we can say, put by the gardener. So she thought that she should she should bring that. She went out to the back veranda where the gardener kept strips of matting with which to protect delicate shrubs on cold nights, and took an armful of them. So not only from sun rays, sometimes it is very cold, then also, okay, these pieces are used to cover the maybe very small plants so that the direct cold waves could not harm the plant. So she went to take those pieces of we can say matting. But when she went back into the room, she saw this was useless. The blood had already soaked through the packing in the man's wound and had ruined the mat under him. But it was maybe too late, because by that time Sadao had already started working. He had, if you remember, at the beach he had covered the wound with the sea moss so that the blood should stop. Now actually he had already taken out that moss, and that's why maybe some blood had already come out and already ruined that mat. "Oh, the mat," she cried. "Yes, it is ruined," Sadao replied, as though he did not care. "Help me to turn him," he commanded her. She obeyed him without a word, and he began to wash the man's back carefully. "Yumi would not wash him," she said. Now she is sitting, helping the husband, and now only she just said, Yumi did not wash this man. Did you wash him then? Sadao asked, not stopping for a moment, his swift, concise movements. Now he's doing whatever he used to do, okay, all the things he's getting ready for the operation. He did not stop his work, but he was surprised. In surprise only, he asked, it means you washed him? Yes, she said. He did not seem to hear her, but she was used to his absorption when he was at work. Actually, he did not look at her, but she was not bothered. She knew this habit, okay, that whenever husband is absorbed in work, okay, he is always like this. He does not then pay heed to other things. She wondered for a moment if it mattered to him what was the body upon which he worked so long as it was for the work he did so excellently. Now she was just thinking, is it that Sadao this time remembers this thing? That this time this patient is not Japanese patient, this is enemy? Is it that Sadao is taking care of this thing, or Sadao is just working upon an injured body? You will have to give the anesthetic if he needs it, he said. Now next command he said, maybe I may need to give anesthesia to this boy. Okay, then you will have to help me. I, she repeated blankly, but never have I. She said, I am to help you for this, but I have never done this. It is easy enough, he said impatiently. He was taking out the packing now, and the blood began to flow more quickly. He peered into the wound with the bright surgeon's light fastened on his forehead. Now maybe whatever one packing he had put upon this injured part, and maybe some packing he had put in the hole which maybe was there due to the bullet in the body. Now he took out the packing and the blood came out. Okay, and with his surgeon's light he tried to look into that hole because he wanted to know the exact location of the bullet, okay, in the body. He peered into the wound with the bright surgeon's light fastened on his forehead. The bullet is still there, he said with cool interest. Maybe he could see something in the hole, and he said, yes, bullet is there. The bullet is still there, he said with cool interest. Now I wonder how deep this rock wound is. If it is not too deep, it may be that I can get the bullet. Now he said, next thing is, now I will have to see, okay, what is the depth of this wound, because of the rocky area this side. Okay, the rock might have taken the bullet more deep. Okay, now I will have to see if this is not that deep, then maybe it will be easy for me to take out the bullet. Otherwise, maybe it would be a major operation. But the bleeding is not superficial. He has lost much blood. He says this is not sure where the bullet is, how deep the bullet is, but one thing is sure, this boy has already lost much blood. At this moment, Hannah choked. Now because he had taken out the packing and the wound is now bare wound. Okay, and when Hannah saw this wound, maybe this deep wound she had seen for the first time, that's why she felt like vomiting. Okay, at this moment, Hannah choked. He looked up and saw her face color of sulfur. Even Sadao also for a second looked at Hannah, and he could see that her face was just yellow because of that fear, because she had seen maybe this kind of injury so closely for the first time. Don't faint, he said sharply. He did not put down his exploring instrument. Okay, it's not that he stopped his work because he loved his wife and he wanted to take care of wife. No, he did not stop the work. He just looked at her and he said, don't faint. But he continued with his job because he had already put some instrument in the wound and he was trying to find out where the bullet shell is. Okay, bullet shell was. If I stop now, the man will surely die. Okay, he knew it, that he had already opened the wound. Now he cannot stop his job because otherwise the man would die. That's why he did not stop. She clapped her hands to her mouth and leaped out and ran out of the room. Clapped means this way. Okay, maybe she felt like vomiting. She just clapped means put this hand on the mouth and she ran out. Okay, outside in the garden, he heard her retching. Retching means here vomiting. Okay, there she vomited and he could hear it. But he went on with his work. But still he did not stop and he did not went out, okay, to see Hannah. It will be better for her to empty her stomach, he thought. He thought it's no problem. This is nothing. Okay, this vomiting is maybe good for her. And he continued with his work. He had forgotten that of course she had never seen an operation, but her distress and his inability to go to her at once made him impatient and irritable with this man who lay like dead under his knife. But maybe for a second, unknowingly, he became irritated. Okay, why irritated? Because he loved his wife so much that he wanted to go and help and see, okay, Hannah, but he could not go because of his duty towards his patient. But even then, he got irritated that why this situation has occurred that I'm not able to go to Hannah. That's why he got irritated, and the moves were now very fast in this irritation. This man, he thought, there is no reason under heaven why he should live. And now he is irritated. That's why he's telling this to himself. He's asking himself, I don't know why I'm saving this man. Why I'm taking this, pains for this man. Unconsciously, this thought made him ruthless and he proceeded swiftly. But maybe unconsciously. Otherwise, he was a very good gentleman, thorough gentleman. But unconsciously, for a second maybe, he became very irritated, became very ruthless. And maybe there was no, we can say, humility in his work which he was doing, and he proceeded very fastly, not even thinking about the patient. Okay, in his dream the man moaned, but Sadao paid no heed except to mutter at him. In his dream means because the patient is still unconscious, he moaned. Moan means naturally he had already put some instrument in the wound, and the man might have felt pain, okay, even in his unconscious state, and that's why he was moaning, he was crying. And this Sadao did not stop it. He just muttered at him. And what he said, groan if you like. I'm not doing this for my own pleasure. In fact, I do not know why I'm doing it. Actually, man is crying with pain, and that's why he said, okay, you can cry in pain, but I cannot stop it. Okay, I'm doing it for you only. It is for you, for your benefit only. And then he said to himself, even I do not know why I'm doing it, but one thing, I'm doing it for you only. So there is no need to cry. Okay, just try to control yourself. Okay, because ultimately this operation is for you only. I think we should stop here only. Okay, and these now 4 videos are with you. And again, I will say that whenever you are listening to these videos, keep your book in your hand. Okay, while listening to me, keep reading the lines, keep underlining whatever I say, wherever I say that these can be lines for RTC or these can be the questions. Okay, do it seriously because this is your 12th class. Okay, next video, maybe I think 2 more videos, we will need to complete the chapter. Today, this much is okay. Thank you.